Hey guys, I'm sitting here with Sharon Pearson, the founder of TCI, and we're having a bit of conversation about what leadership is.
Yes, we are.
And the importance of coaching actually being leadership. Can you share with me how important that is?
I can. Coaching is leadership. So I think a lot of the times I see coaches hoping things will improve, wondering what it's going to take to get things improving. But the first conversation they've got to have with themselves is about how am I improving? How am I relating to me? And there's no point in looking outside for something to fix what is inside. The two have no relationship to each other. The skill out there, the technique of rapport building, can't happen until there's willingness to experience it in here. How am I doing with that?
Yeah.
The two are not the same thing. You can't do rapport on someone. That's really icky. It's manipulation. I'm going to have rapport with this person because it will serve them. That's an example of leadership.
Yeah. And I find it common. I find it common that a lot of coaches say, well, I want more leadership, or I want to teach people leadership, but there's a lack of awareness of how to actually do that for themselves.
Yeah, well, there is definite skill sets that have to be learned to be a leader. It's not, I'm now a leader because I say that. If no one's following you, dude, you're out for a walk. So
Yeah, I'm a leader.
If there's no one behind you, you're just strolling. So a leadership, the first measure of how you are as a leader is who's following you. And if no one's following you, at this stage you need to learn self-leadership. You need to learn how to manage yourself, how to be responsible to yourself, how to keep promises you make to yourself. These are basic messages that aren't always falling under the category of sexy and great to hear, but they're just what they are. Leadership is actually, it's a lot harder than it looks. It really is. It takes pretty well every interpersonal skill anyone has is needed to be an effective leader. But it is so much more than that. So the first relationship's got to be, am I up for the journey? I did a post on Facebook, it was about success. You've got to want it more than excuses. Leadership's the same thing. You've got to want it more than all the excuses that most people make about why they're not doing the thing that leadership takes. There's this great video on YouTube by, I don't remember his name, I feel terrible I can't attribute it to him, but he says, you've got to want this more than breathing. You've got to want it more than the parties. You've got to want it more than the late nights and the drinking and the breaking out with your buddies. You've got to want it more than anything, more than you've ever wanted anything in your life. Yeah. Leadership is that.
Yeah.
And if I'm putting people off leadership, awesome, because you were going to be an inconsistent leader anyway and let people down.
Yeah.
But that is the conversation, and I don't make up these rules. I'm not sitting here going, that's what it's going to take to be a leader. It's everybody I've ever spoken with who is an effective leader in their community says the same thing. It takes all you got, all the time. You don't get to switch off and go, no, I'm not going to lead now.
Yeah.
You got this. You don't get to do that. Yeah. Or, thank you, followers. Leadership's cancelled for the day.
Work it out for yourselves.
You just don't get that luxury, whereas being a follower does have that luxury. It's easy from a followership position to say, I really want to be a leader.
Yeah.
But from the follower position, you get to opt in and out. It's like, have a go, not, try it on. Yeah, I really like being a leader. It looks good. It looks good. Or you get to lead something, go, yeah, I really liked it. It was great. You now do that every single day, all the time, with everybody, with no excuses, ever. That's leadership. And so you got to start leading yourself first. You got to know you can count on you, trust you, back yourself, deliver on your promises, make a promise and know you're going to keep it. They're the givens before we can even talk about the responsibility and the obligations that come with being responsible for someone else, which is huge, and a huge responsibility and obligation and privilege. The leadership is not, it's not a demand. You don't get to demand, I'm a leader. It's the privilege that people, I got the title, so I'm all over this. Yeah. It's really, you can count on me. That's what a leader is. You can count on me no matter what. There are many times I've been a leader when I've had stuff going on and no one knows. That's leadership.
Yeah. It's the way I see it, it's like the ultimate grown up.
Okay, yeah. I hope I'm not a grown up. I'll deny it if you ever said it publicly. Like if you go beyond the two of us saying that, I'm denying it.
No one's watching.
It's
totally cool.
If you say that, I'm denying it didn't happen.
I find a lot of coaches start off in their coaching journey, and then they look at leadership as something that they would aspire to, or maybe start looking at later.
Oh, that's a great insight. Yeah, I'd forgotten about that. You're right.
And I hope that people are getting from this conversation, it's kind of the foundations that they should be focusing on now.
Yeah, I that's interesting. I hadn't realized that. You're right, because for me, my business got effective because I was willing to become effective as a human being and lead, which means self-leadership.
Yeah.
So I was attempting badly from day one to learn how to be an effective leader. It never occurred to me to do it linearly, that I will learn how to coach first and then learn how to lead, because they're actually the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't realize that. So my experience was, if it's useful, that I was learning badly how to lead from the beginning, knowing that whatever skill I built as a coach was not going anywhere until I could lead others and transfer those skills. It would always be reliant on me if all I did was coaching. That's not all, because it's awesome.
Yeah.
So I had to have the leadership keep up with it, because I knew very, very shortly that I would be running workshops and I'd be doing trainings and I'd be responsible to others' experience of me. And I'd have to be able to communicate the transfer of knowledge, which is what leadership is. It's the ability to impact, influence, and inspire others through what you know and they can do. So those two I had to traverse those journeys at the same time. If I'd done it linearly, we wouldn't have TCI, because I'd be a really talented coach.
Yep. Yeah. Waiting to take responsibility.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. To be an effective coach is to know how to be an effective leader. Let's say it again. Pure coaching is just asking questions and letting the client come to the realization at their own pace. That is not what we teach. It takes way too long. Not everybody digs that. Plenty of people say, can't you just help me with getting the steps in place? So you have to know what knowledge to transfer to them, and when to transfer it to them, and in what way to transfer to them, and know how much they can handle at that time. And that's leadership. Leadership is knowing you're ready for next. You're ready for this level of mentorship. So coaching and mentoring is leadership. The two have to go together.
In a way, coaching without leadership is kind of just, it's a bit of fluff, isn't it?
Well, I was effective. I was a bad leader having a go when I was a very effective coach, because I was willing to learn how to be a leader.
Yeah, you'd made the decision.
I made the decision. So my ability as a coach was outstripping any of my colleagues at the time. I know the 20 people I trained with, and I know what I was doing in comparison to what they weren't doing. And my ability as a coach outstripped any of theirs, because over here I had another conversation going on. How do I take my passion, my certainty, my desire to transform lives to people who aren't in a coaching conversation? They're kind of in a bound conversation, man. If they're sitting being coached by you and they're paying money, it's kind of like they got to do the conversation for 45 minutes. Now go do that with someone who doesn't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
Take that networking.
Yeah.
And see how far you get with just coaching questions. The response is, who are you to be asking these personal questions?
Yep.
Quite rightly.
Yep.
Take that to a stage and just ask coaching questions. It doesn't work. So my ability greatly outstrips a lot of other people's, and I know still does. And I don't do that much coaching, as you know, but I still got the moves because of this world I have. You know, people say all the time, don't you have to have experience to be a coach? Yes, you do. Now. Leadership experience right now.
Yep.
It's happening right now.
Yep.
To delay it is to delay becoming as effective as you need to be as a coach to help the people you want to help. The people who thank me, it's because I knew how to lead them in the direction they needed to lead. It wasn't because we made it up together and it was all just made up. I knew what I was doing.
My favourite distinction about the conversation that we've been having is that I think it's so much more than coaching. You know, leadership is a foundation that you can take into so many different areas of your life.
Well, if you can consider yourself on the trajectory to becoming a leader, you're going to conduct yourself differently in meetings than if you've just come in with just coaching. There is a different mindset around the leader in a meeting versus I hope I get a coaching gig in the meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm talking about the niche of leadership. I'm not saying be a leadership coach. I'm not suggesting that at all. I'm saying the most effective coaches bring a certain demeanor in a meeting. that they're comfortable taking the leadership role,
Yeah.
which means the sponsor of the coaching can feel certain of them, which means the people observe them and go, wow, they're holding themselves really well, versus the follower mindset. You know, I hope I get the gig, I hope I
Give
do
me
well.
something.
Yeah, what's going to happen now? I wonder how this is going to go, versus the leader goes, well, I think this is how it needs to go.
Yeah.
Leadership is knowing when to direct the traffic and when to know not to.
Yeah, that's so valuable.
It really is.
So many.
Only because I said it though. If you'd said it, it'd be kind of.
And you're a grown up.
Yeah, exactly. Don't.
I'm wearing a tie.
I'm not.
You could.
I
You pull
could.
up. I think it's such a valuable thing for a coach to have that ability, because so many, even business owners, are blindly leading. You know, they don't have the leadership.
I don't think they're even blindly leading. I think they're managing
Yeah.
and coping
With the badges.
title
Yeah.
and wondering why it's not happening.
Yep.
But again, it doesn't even have to be in a business setting. It's just our capacity to impact, influence, and inspire others is leadership.
Yeah. Well said.
And it's not always a coaching conversation that needs to happen. Sometimes it's mentoring, sometimes it's leadership, sometimes it's directing. It's all the flavors that help this client have an enriched, phenomenal experience of how great they can really be.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's, I'm not going to coach you right now, you need to hear this. So the leader in us needs to be capable of delivering that message in a way that's certain and accurate
Yeah.
and going to help them. Yeah, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was fun.
Awesome. Welcome. We rock.
Yeah, we really do. Cut.